service guns, presidential on my wrist. 20 Escalades like Obama and his bitch.
Hiya, welcome back to the channel. So before us, as you can see, we have got 1,298 cc's of diesel powered excitement with the smallest turbo in the world on it, and no intercooler. And this is a 1.4 HDI 206 SW, and this video is going to be servicing the shitter. So let's do that. So the first thing I'm going to do is need access to the sump plug, which normally would require the removal of some screws which hold this under train, but mine doesn't have screws. Mine has a couple of cable ties, or one cable tie even, but I might try and refit some screws afterwards. So anyway, we need to get to the sump, and we need to undo that, which is just a 21mm hex. So I use a 21mm socket to remove it. Now really you should remove this properly, but I can't be arsed. I'm just putting the oil drain on top of that like that, which will be fine, I hope. Yes. And then whilst that is draining, we can make our way up to the top of the engine bay, and there is an oil filter there. So if we pull this off nice and carefully, then we can take a 27mm socket, and it should just undo nice and lovingly. Yes. And now we have to replace the old filter, which should just pull out of here. Yes. With a new filter, which is in here. Now we've got a new O-ring which goes on there. We've got the same filter with the same little dildo stuck out, which needs to be aligned. So first we need to put the new O-ring on. Just need something like the correct tool, which is obviously a screwdriver, to flick underneath it, and then just got to put the new one where the old one was. It's sort of self-explanatory really. Look at that, it's all twisted and fucked up. Yeah. And then make sure that it's not twisted all the way around, and it's something like that. And then we just push this onto there, like so. And now we've got to be careful when we install it, because if we look inside the filter housing, we can see the hole for that to go into is there. So we're going to have to line that bit up before we start screwing the filter in, and you'll sort of feel it as it lines up. And then when you are sure you've got it lined up, then you can put a socket on it and crank it up all the way to 25 Newton meters of torque, which is probably about what this car has when it's running. Click. And we're done here, so we might as well put this shitter back on. Now if we go back down here, we can see that the oil has pretty much stopped coming out, so we can reinstall the sump plug. Now the washer on this is alright, but if you are going to put a new washer on, it looks like it's about a 12mm. Not forgetting to tighten it up as required to whatever the torque setting is. So now fortunately we are actually done under here, so we can fasten this back up using the OEM fixings. And the rest of what we're doing should all be from up here, starting with the installation. And I think it's about 3.8 litres of that oil. So we need to make sure there's enough in it. Yes. And as ever, doing the oil on a diesel engine is just what happens with it, unless you do like a super duper mega flush. So that's got enough in it to start it anyway. We'll do the rest of the service, and then we'll top it up at the end. So we need to start it first though. while it's running, I'd always say just have a quick look at the oil filter to make sure it's not pissing oil out everywhere. Right, so now at least, all the work is going to be from up here. So first we're going to remove the air box to get to the air filter, which is under here. I'll just take these T25 torque bits out. You can lift that off, and then we can see that it has been badly fitted at some point. And it's not the cleanest in the world. And then while that's out the way, hopefully we can get to the fuel filter, which is this thing I'm touching now, caressing it nice and lovingly. There's a T20 on top. We've got these which need pushing in at the sides. Yes. And then there's a T25. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a T25 there. Also needs to be removed because that actually holds the fuel filter in place. Now this doesn't need doing every service, but I've just got this car, and when I get a car I do like to service it just for my own perverted sense of satisfaction. And then just carefully twist that round that way somehow, and then we can lift the filter out and we can disconnect. Underneath there is, which you can't see, is this green plug which needs to be removed nice and carefully. And the plug is for this sensor, which will need to be put into the new one. Now that's a sensor to detect water in the fuel, I believe. So that needs to go into there. Yes. So this needs to go in there, and it does come with a new O-ring which I've decided not to use. So that does tighten up, and it wasn't particularly tight when it come out, so I'm not going to go mad with it. There probably is a torque setting, but I've no idea what it is. Probably just as tight as you can get it with your fingers. And now we can feed this one in where the old one came from, not forgetting to plug that shitter in. And hook it in at the back first. But you've got to be careful with this bit, because that bit gets hooked around there and it sort of hooks it up a bit, but it hooks into that plastic bit there, and we've got to bring it in, hook that over there, otherwise it causes an issue. Then it hooks into there like that. Then that one can be plugged into there. That one can be plugged into there. This screw goes nice and carefully into there. Yes. So that's our fuel filter installed, and now we just need to fill it up, which we do with this little penis pump. Just keep on pumping it until it goes hard, usually, which I've shown in other servicing videos. Yes. So now let's go ahead and fit the new air filter, which fits in there nice and perfectly. And then tighten these up, and all we've left to do is, well, we need to run it to make sure it still runs after fitting the fuel filter. It doesn't suck in a load of air or nothing. And we need to check the oil level. Yes. Now obviously we are going to reset that service reminder, but that will be in another video. And not forgetting to tap off the oil. Yes. And if we look at this car has actually got quite a complimentary service history. So we've added hours there, we just need to stamp it. And there, we are now finished. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all the usual shit. I'll see you next time.